At 6:47 a.m., Ryan Morrison woke up to 47 missed calls and a bank account with $43. 12 hours earlier, he had a beautiful pregnant wife, $287,000 in a promising future. What happened in those 12 hours? His wife found 6 months of text messages. By the next morning, she had vanished without a trace, taking everything, the money, the car, and his unborn daughter. He thought he was clever. He thought he could have it all. He was wrong. This is the true story of how one night of betrayal cost a man everything he'd ever loved. Stay until the end, because of the revenge, it's colder and more calculated than you can imagine. Let's begin. Ryan Morrison woke up in the Beverly Wilshire Hotel at 6:47 in the morning with the worst feeling he had ever experienced. His phone screen lit up the darkened room like a beacon of disaster. 47 missed calls, 89 text messages, 12 voicemails. His business partner, Derek, had sent 15 texts, each one more frantic than the last. The most recent one made Ryan's blood run cold. "Where is the money? Account is empty. Call me now." "What the hell?" Ryan muttered, sitting up fast enough to wake the blonde woman sleeping beside him. Savannah Blake stirred, reaching for him with a lazy smile. "Morning, baby. Come back to bed." Ryan ignored her, fingers fumbling as he opened his banking app. The screen loaded slowly, each second feeling like an eternity. When the numbers finally appeared, his vision blurred. Joint checking account, $43.17. Joint savings account, $0.00. No. Ryan threw off the covers, scrambling for his clothes scattered across the hotel room floor. "Ryan, what's wrong?" Savannah sat up, sheet clutched to her chest. "I have to go. Now." He grabbed his shirt, pulled it on inside out, didn't care. His phone rang. Derek. Ryan answered while shoving his feet into his shoes. "Tell me this is a mistake." Derek's voice came through sharp and angry. "Tell me you didn't just let your wife empty our business accounts." "What are you talking about?" Ryan's hands shook as he searched for his car keys. "The automatic tax transfer from your personal joint account, $47,000? It went through yesterday, but when payroll tried to clear this morning, there were insufficient funds. 23 employees' paychecks bounced, Ryan." Ryan stopped moving. "That's impossible. There was almost $300,000 in that account yesterday." "Well, there's jack shit in it now. Fix this. Today." Derek hung up. Savannah was out of bed now, pulling on her dress from the night before. "Ryan, what's happening?" "I don't know." But even as he said it, a cold dread settled in his stomach. "I have to get home." "Will I see you later?" Ryan didn't answer. He was already out the door. The drive from downtown Los Angeles to Calabasas took 42 minutes in early morning traffic. 42 minutes for Ryan's mind to race through possibilities, each one worse than the last. A banking error, identity theft, a system glitch. But deep down, in a place he didn't want to acknowledge, he knew the truth. He pulled into his driveway at 7:34. Jessica's Range Rover was gone. Not at the grocery store gone. Not running errands gone. The parking space was empty in a way that felt permanent. Ryan's hands fumbled with his keys at the front door. Inside, the house was silent. Not the peaceful quiet of a Saturday morning. The hollow silence of abandonment. "Jessica?" His voice echoed in the foyer. "Jess?" No answer. He took the stairs 2 at a time, already knowing what he'd find. Their bedroom door stood open. Jessica's side of the closet was empty. No clothes, no shoes, no suitcases, just bare hangers and the faint scent of her perfume. The bathroom was worse. Her toothbrush gone. Her makeup gone. The prenatal vitamins she took every morning gone. Ryan stumbled back downstairs, checking every room. The nursery they'd been preparing stood untouched. The crib still in its box, the walls painted soft yellow. But the ultrasound photos that had been stuck to the refrigerator with magnets were gone. In the kitchen, he finally saw it. Jessica's wedding ring on the counter, next to a handwritten note on her favorite stationery. Ryan's legs gave out. He sank into a kitchen chair and picked up the note with shaking hands. The note began simply, "Ryan, by the time you read this, I'll be somewhere you'll never find me." Ryan read the first line 3 times before his brain could process it. Then he read the rest, each word landing like a physical blow. Jessica had found the messages. All of them. 6 months of text between him and Savannah. 6 months of lies. 6 months of planning her replacement while she carried his child. She'd quoted his own words back to him. Poor thing, 7 months pregnant and clueless. Ryan remembered typing that message. He'd been laughing when he sent it. The note continued with clinical precision. Jessica had taken every penny from their joint accounts. $287,000. She'd sold his Range Rover for $65,000 in cash. She'd emptied their safe deposit box of $30,000 in emergency funds and her grandmother's jewelry. She'd filed for divorce. Her attorney was Catherine Hayes, Jessica's former colleague from before she'd quit to be a stay-at-home mom. The baby was legally hers. California law allowed pregnant women to relocate before filing for divorce. By the time Ryan was reading this note, Jessica was already out of state. The note ended with a postscript that made Ryan's stomach turn. I hope Savannah was worth $382,000, your business reputation, and the chance to know your daughter. Have the life you deserve. Jessica. P.S. I left dinner in the fridge. It's probably still cold, just like you. Ryan sat at the kitchen table for 17 minutes, reading the note over and over, trying to find some clue about where she'd gone. There was nothing. He tried calling her phone. The robotic voice that answered told him the number was no longer in service. He checked Find My iPhone. Her device was offline. Last location, Los Angeles International Airport, yesterday at 7:42 p.m. She could be anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. Ryan looked around the kitchen, this room where Jessica had made him breakfast every morning, where she tested recipes and hummed to herself and talked to their unborn baby. She made my favorite dinner. It's sitting on the table getting cold. He'd written that to Savannah last night, laughing about how predictable Jessica was, how trusting. Now that trust was gone, Jessica was gone, the money was gone, and Ryan Morrison, who 12 hours ago had been a successful real estate developer with a beautiful pregnant wife and a promising future, sat alone in his empty house with $43 to his name and no idea how to fix what he'd broken. His phone rang. His mother. Ryan stared at the screen. Jessica's mother must have called her, must have told her everything. The phone kept ringing. Ryan didn't answer. Outside, the California sun rose over Calabasas, indifferent to the implosion of his life. Birds sang in the palm trees. Neighbors walked their dogs. The world continued exactly as it had before. But for Ryan Morrison, nothing would ever be the same again. The story of how Ryan Morrison destroyed his life didn't start that morning. It started 18 hours earlier, at 7:30 p.m. on a Friday night, in the kitchen of his Calabasas home. Jessica Morrison, 7 months pregnant and glowing with it, stood at the stove stirring pasta sauce. She was humming along to music playing softly from her phone, one hand absently rubbing her rounded belly. Almost done, little one, she murmured to the baby. Daddy should be home soon. Her phone buzzed on the counter, a text from Ryan. Emergency client meeting, investor from Dubai, only in town tonight. Might be late. Love you both. Jessica's smile faltered for just a moment. Ryan had been working late a lot recently, 3 nights this week alone, but she pushed the disappointment aside. He was building something for their family. These long hours would pay off. Daddy's working hard for us, she told her belly. The baby kicked in response, making her laugh. She set the table for one. It wasn't the first time, and she'd learned not to let it bother her. Ryan would eat when he got home, even if the food was cold. He always appreciated her cooking. Jessica plated the pasta, covered it with foil, and put it in the warming drawer. Then she cleaned the kitchen, loaded the dishwasher, and settled onto the couch with a book about preparing for childbirth. By 10:30, she was struggling to keep her eyes open. The baby was active tonight, pressing against her rib cage in a way that made it hard to get comfortable. She grabbed her iPad, thinking she'd watch something light on Netflix before bed. The iPad opened automatically to Ryan's messages. They shared a family iCloud account, something they'd set up years ago and never changed. Usually Jessica respected his privacy, but tonight a name caught her eye. Savannah, with a kiss emoji next to it. Jessica knew Savannah Blake. She'd met her at Ryan's office party 2 weeks ago. Young, beautiful, confident. She worked as Ryan's marketing consultant. The most recent message was from 15 minutes ago. Room 847, I'm wearing what you bought me, or not wearing it anymore. Jessica's heart started pounding. She told herself there had to be an explanation. Maybe Savannah was sending something to Ryan by mistake. Maybe this was meant for someone else. But then she saw Ryan's response. On my way up, Jessica thinks I'm in a meeting. Jessica's hand started shaking. She scrolled up, reading message after message. Weeks of them. Months. Poor thing, 7 months pregnant and clueless. After the baby comes, I'm filing. My lawyer says I can get 50-50 custody. House is in my name. She hasn't worked in 2 years. Clean break. Can't wait to redecorate that house. Her taste is so suburban, Mom. The messages went back 6 months. Photos, plans for their future together, discussions about when Ryan would leave Jessica. One message from 3 months ago made bile rise in Jessica's throat. Had to have sex with Jessica last night, trying to keep up appearances until baby comes. Thought of you the whole time. Jessica ran to the bathroom and vomited. When she was done, she sat on the cold tile floor, one hand on her belly, tears streaming down her face. The baby kicked hard, as if sensing her mother's distress. I'm sorry, Jessica whispered. I'm so sorry you have to feel this. She cried for 20 minutes. Then she stopped. Something shifted in her chest. Not grief anymore. Something colder, clearer. Jessica stood up, washed her face, and looked at herself in the mirror. 7 months pregnant, wearing Ryan's old college t-shirt and pajama pants, hair in a messy bun. She looked exactly like what Savannah had called her, a clueless suburban mom. But Jessica wasn't clueless anymore. She went back to the iPad and took screenshots of everything, every message, every photo, every plan they had made to erase her from Ryan's life. Then she opened her laptop and started researching. How to empty joint bank account, California. Selling car quickly for cash. Can pregnant woman relocate before divorce? Best cities for single mothers. By midnight, Jessica had a plan. By 12:30, when Ryan's key turned in the lock, she was in bed with the lights off, pretending to be asleep. She heard him go straight to the bathroom. Heard the shower run for 10 minutes. Washing off Savannah's perfume, probably. When he finally slipped into bed beside her, he whispered, Love you, Jess. Jessica kept her eyes closed, kept her breathing even. That was the last time Ryan Morrison would ever touch me, she would think later. He just didn't know it yet. At 6:15 the next morning, Jessica was already up and dressed when Ryan's alarm went off. She had coffee brewing and was making his favorite breakfast, pancakes with fresh blueberries. Hey babe, you're up early, Ryan said, shuffling into the kitchen in his pajamas. Jessica smiled at him. It took every ounce of strength she had, but she smiled. Couldn't sleep. Baby's active this morning. I thought I'd surprise you. Ryan kissed her forehead, and Jessica fought the urge to pull away. You're amazing. I was thinking, Jessica said, flipping pancakes with steady hands. Maybe we could have date night this weekend. Just us before baby comes? Ryan's face showed a flash of guilt before he covered it. Yeah, definitely, and I'll check my calendar. Perfect. Jessica set a plate in front of him. Oh, and I'm meeting Lauren for lunch, then running errands. Might be out most of the day. Cool. Take it easy, okay? Don't overdo it. I won't. Have a great day at work, honey. Jessica watched from the window as Ryan's Tesla pulled out of the driveway. The moment it disappeared around the corner, she dropped the smile. Showtime, she said quietly. At 7:28 a.m., Jessica Morrison walked through the doors of First National Bank, carrying her purse and her 7-month pregnant belly like weapons. The teller who greeted her was young, maybe 25, with kind eyes and a name tag that read Sarah. Good morning. How can I help you today? Jessica smiled warmly. I need to make some withdrawals from our accounts, both checking and savings. Of course, let me pull those up for you, Mrs. Morrison, Sarah typed efficiently. Then her eyes widened slightly. Oh, that's quite a bit. $287,000 total. Yes, I need it in cashier's checks, please. 3 separate checks. Jessica handed over a slip of paper with the amounts already calculated. 150, 87, and 50,000 in cash. Sarah hesitated. Mrs. Morrison, this is a very large withdrawal. Are you sure you don't want to discuss this with your husband first? Jessica kept her voice pleasant but firm. It's a joint account. I don't need his permission, and I need the checks made out to Jessica Bennett. That's my maiden name. Of course, let me get my manager to approve this transaction. 20 minutes later, Jessica walked out of the bank with 3 cashier's checks and $50,000 in cash carefully secured in her purse. Her hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady. Next stop, CarMax. The salesman at the used car dealership looked surprised when Jessica pulled up in the Range Rover. Nice vehicle, ma'am. What can I do for you? I want to sell it. Today, right now. Ma'am, this is a $75,000 vehicle. Don't you want to think about this? Get some quotes? Jessica looked him directly in the eye. I'll take $65,000, and I need this done in the next hour. Something in her tone must have convinced him. Let me see what I can do. The title was in Jessica's name only, a wedding gift from her parents. That made everything easier. By 9:30, Jessica had sold the Range Rover and added $65,000 in cash to her purse. She took an Uber to the safe deposit box facility. 10 a.m., right on schedule. Inside the vault, Jessica opened their box methodically. Her grandmother's jewelry went into her bag. The $30,000 in emergency cash went into her bag. Her passport went into her bag. She left Ryan's grandfather's watch collection. She wasn't a thief. At 10:45, Jessica walked into the law office of Catherine Hayes. Catherine was Jessica's former colleague from before pregnancy had forced her to quit her marketing job. They'd been friendly but not close. That was about to change. Jessica! Catherine stood up from behind her desk, shocked. Oh my God, you're pregnant! When did this happen? I haven't seen you in 2 years. Catherine, I need your help. Jessica sat down heavily. And I need you to not ask questions until I'm done talking. For the next 30 minutes, Jessica explained everything. She showed Catherine the screenshots of Ryan's messages. She explained what she'd done that morning with the bank accounts and the car. Catherine listened without interrupting. When Jessica finished, she sat back in her chair. That son of a bitch, Catherine said quietly. Okay, here's what we need to do legally. We file for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. We request full custody based on your established bond with the unborn child. We calculate child support based on his income. And we protect your location under domestic privacy statutes. I don't want to fight him in court, Jessica said. I want to disappear. Jessica, you can't just... Yes, I can. Under California law, I can relocate anywhere in the United States before filing for divorce. The baby isn't born yet, so there's no custody arrangement to violate. By the time he gets served papers, I'll be gone. Catherine studied her for a long moment. Then she smiled slowly. You've done your research. I had a long night. Where are you going? Seattle. I have a college roommate there who's offered me a place to stay until I find my own apartment. When are you leaving? Tonight, 7:45 p.m. flight. And Catherine, don't serve him the papers for 72 hours. I want to be completely unreachable. Catherine extended her hand. You're my hero. Let's make this bastard regret every choice he's ever made. By noon, Jessica had purchased a burner phone, a new laptop, and a prepaid credit card loaded with $10,000, all with cash at various electronics stores downtown. At 1:30, she booked a one-way ticket to Seattle on her new laptop, using her maiden name and the prepaid card. At 2:15, she rented a storage unit under her maiden name and prepaid for 1 year. She stored photo albums, important documents, and sentimental items she couldn't carry but couldn't leave behind. At 3 p.m., Jessica returned home for the last time. The house was exactly as she'd left it that morning. Ryan's coffee cup in the sink, the breakfast dishes she hadn't bothered to wash, the half-finished nursery upstairs. Jessica packed one suitcase with calm efficiency: maternity clothes, baby essentials, medical records, her laptop, the cash, her grandmother's jewelry. She worked quickly but not frantically. She walked through each room one final time: the living room where she and Ryan had picked out furniture together, the kitchen where she'd cooked thousands of meals, the bedroom where they'd made love and made plans and made promises that turned out to be lies. The nursery hurt the most. Soft yellow walls, the crib still in its box because Ryan kept saying he'd assemble it next weekend, a rocking chair her mother had given them, books about raising babies stacked on the changing table. Jessica put one hand on her belly. "I'm sorry you won't meet your daddy the way I planned," she whispered. "But I'm sorrier about who he turned out to be." She took her wedding ring off and left it on the kitchen counter. Next to it, she placed the note she'd written at 3 a.m. while Ryan was sleeping beside her in bed. Then she made 4 phone calls. Phone company. "I need to cancel my number and transfer the account to Ryan Morrison exclusively." Electric company. "Remove Jessica Morrison from the account. Ryan Morrison is the sole account holder now." Car insurance. "Remove the Range Rover from our policy. The vehicle has been sold." Each representative asked if she was sure. Each time, Jessica said yes. By 4 p.m., Jessica Bennett no longer existed in Ryan Morrison's life. Not on paper, not in their home, not anywhere he could find her. At 5:30, Jessica sat in the back of an Uber heading to LAX. Her phone rang, Ryan calling. She watched it ring, watched his name flash on the screen, watched it go to voicemail. A text came through. "Hey, where are you? Wanted to surprise you with dinner tonight." Jessica typed a response. "Surprise." Then she powered off the phone, removed the SIM card, and snapped it in half. She rolled down the window and tossed the pieces onto the 405 freeway, watching them disappear in the traffic behind her. "People ask if I felt guilty," Jessica would think months later. "I didn't. You can't steal from a thief. And Ryan had stolen 7 months of my life, pretending to love me while planning my replacement. I was just returning the favor." At 6:45 p.m., Jessica boarded Alaska Airlines Flight 337 to Seattle. First class, paid in cash. She ordered ginger ale and opened her new laptop. Composed an email to Catherine with the subject line, "It's done. I'm gone. He'll never find me. Serve him in 72 hours. Make sure he knows every dollar I took was legally mine. Every decision I made was legally sound. I'm not a thief. I'm just done being one's victim." At 7:45 p.m., the plane lifted off. Jessica watched Los Angeles disappear beneath the clouds. Somewhere down there, Ryan was with Savannah, having no idea that his life was about to implode. "It's just you and me now, baby," Jessica whispered, her hand on her belly, "and we're going to be better than fine." The plane leveled off, heading north toward Seattle in a future Jessica would build herself. Below, in Calabasas, Ryan's phone buzzed with alerts he hadn't seen yet. From his bank, from his business partner, from the car dealership confirming the sale of a vehicle he didn't know was sold. The dominoes were falling, and Ryan Morrison had no idea the game was already over. Ryan sat at his kitchen table, his mother's voice shrieking through the phone speaker, and realized this was rock bottom. "Ryan Christopher Morrison, what in God's name is going on? Jessica's mother just called me in tears. Mom, I can't talk right now." "You absolutely can talk right now. What did you do to that poor pregnant girl?" Ryan's head was pounding. Between the panic, the lack of sleep, and the dawning realization of how completely he'd screwed up, he could barely form coherent thoughts. "I didn't do anything. She's the one who emptied our accounts and disappeared." "Don't you lie to me!" His mother's voice went up an octave. "Her mother says she found out you've been cheating on her for months while she's carrying your baby." Ryan closed his eyes. Of course Jessica's mom knew. Of course everyone would know. "Mom, it's complicated." "No, it's simple. You're a cheater and a liar. Your father would be ashamed of you." "I'm ashamed of you." Those words hit harder than Ryan expected. His father had died 3 years ago, but hearing that he would have been ashamed made something crack in Ryan's chest. "Mom, please, just listen. Don't call me until you fix this and apologize to that girl. If you even can find her, I hope she never speaks to you again." The line went dead. Ryan put his head in his hands. It was 8:37 a.m. He'd been awake for 2 hours, and his life had already completely fallen apart. His phone rang again. Not his mother this time. Savannah. Ryan answered with something close to desperation. "Savannah, thank God." "Good morning, baby. Last night was incredible." The cheerfulness in her voice felt obscene given Ryan's current situation. "Savannah, Jessica's gone." Silence on the other end. Then, "What do you mean, gone?" "She found our messages. All of them. She took all the money from our accounts, almost $300,000. and disappeared. I have no idea where she is. The pause that followed stretched for 5 full seconds. How much money did you say? Something in Savannah's tone made Ryan's stomach drop. Almost 300,000. Plus she sold her car for 65,000. Savannah, she completely vanished. Another pause. Ryan, how are you going to pay the child support with no money? What? I need to find her first. And when you do, she's going to take you to court. You're going to owe her thousands every month for the next 18 years. Ryan felt like he was drowning. But we'll be together. We can rebuild. Ryan, Savannah's voice had gone cold. Professional almost. I need to be honest with you. This isn't what I signed up for. What are you talking about? I'm leaving my wife for you. Actually, it sounds like your wife left you, and now you're broke, and about to have massive child support payments, and probably legal bills. She paused. I'm 29 years old, Ryan. I have options. I'm not looking to date a broke guy with baby mama drama. The words landed like physical blows. So that's it? Everything we talked about, everything we planned. We planned for you to leave a marriage and start fresh with money and security. This? Savannah laughed, but it wasn't a kind sound. This is a disaster. I'm sorry, but I can't do this. You bitch! The line went dead. Ryan threw his phone across the kitchen. It hit the wall and the screen shattered into a spiderweb pattern. He sat there for a full minute, breathing hard, trying to process what had just happened. Jessica was gone. The money was gone. Savannah was gone. His phone, the broken one on the floor, started buzzing. He crawled over to it, squinting at the cracked screen. The car dealership. Mr. Morrison, just confirming your wife completed the sale of her 2023 Range Rover yesterday. Title transferred successfully. Have a great day. Ryan stared at the text message. She'd really done it. Sold the car he'd bought her for their anniversary. The car worth $75,000. Another text came through, Chase Bank. Mr. Morrison, this is Amanda from Chase. I'm calling because there were unusual changes to your account yesterday. Your wife removed herself from all 3 joint credit lines and transferred all outstanding balances to your name exclusively. Current balance, $43,847.62. Ryan dropped the phone. He was $43,000 in debt on credit cards he didn't know Jessica had maxed out before leaving. Debt that was now entirely his responsibility. The house phone rang. Ryan stumbled to answer it, hoping irrationally that it might be Jessica. It wasn't. Mr. Morrison, this is Jack Crawford from Pacific Investigations. I saw your post on the private investigator job board. You're looking for a missing pregnant woman? Ryan felt a surge of hope. Yes, my wife left yesterday. She's 7 months pregnant. I need to find her. I can do that. I've found hundreds of missing people. Pregnant woman can't hide easily. She'll need prenatal care, hospital records. I'll have her location in a week. Thank you so much. How much? $5,000 retainer. Ryan's heart sank. I don't have $5,000. Credit card? Ryan looked at the text from Chase Bank. $43,000 in debt. What was another $5,000? Yes, I'll put it on credit. By noon, Ryan had maxed out his last credit card paying the private investigator, talked to 3 different bank managers who all confirmed Jessica had every legal right to empty their accounts, and received a text from Derek demanding they meet immediately. The meeting was at their office downtown. Ryan drove there in his Tesla, which he suddenly realized he couldn't afford the payments on anymore. Derek was waiting in the conference room with 2 other partners. Their faces said everything Ryan needed to know. We're buying you out, Derek said without preamble. You can't do that. Partnership Agreement, Section 14, Paragraph C. Any partner whose personal conduct brings disrepute to the firm may be subject to forced buyout. We had our lawyer review it this morning. It's airtight. Ryan felt like the floor was tilting. How much? $150,000. The company's worth $2 million. My share is worth $1 million. Your share was worth $1 million before you became a PR nightmare, before 3 clients dropped us this morning because their wives saw Facebook posts about you cheating on your pregnant wife. Derek leaned forward. Take the 150 or fight us in court, which will cost you more than 150 in legal fees. Your choice. Ryan had no choice. He knew it. They knew it. Fine. Good. We'll have the paperwork ready tomorrow. Clean out your office by end of business today. Ryan drove home in a daze. $150,000 sounded like a lot until he started calculating his debts. $47,000 to cover the bounced payroll. $43,800 in credit card debt. $15,000 to the private investigator. $25,000 retainer for a divorce attorney he just hired that morning. $8,500 for first and last month's rent on a new apartment because he couldn't afford this house anymore. That left him with $10,650. His monthly expenses were over $6,000. His income was now zero. Ryan sat in his car in the driveway of his Calabasas home and did the math. He had less than 2 months before he'd be completely broke. And somewhere out there, Jessica was carrying his daughter, and he had no idea where she was. Week 1 of Ryan Morrison's new reality started with Jack Crawford calling to say he had no leads. "She's good," Jack admitted over the phone. "Really good. Really. No credit card usage, no cell phone, no social media activity since the day she left. Bank accounts untouched. She's living entirely on cash." What about her family? Ryan was pacing his now mostly empty living room. He'd already moved most of his things to a 1-bedroom apartment in Van Nuys. Her parents claim they haven't heard from her. I believe them. They seem genuinely worried. Her college roommate in Seattle isn't talking, but I can't prove she's lying. Check her friends here. Already did. Nobody knows anything, or they're protecting her. Ryan wanted to throw something. "I'm paying you $5,000 to find my pregnant wife. Ex-wife, actually. You were served divorce papers this morning, weren't you?" Ryan looked at the manila envelope sitting on his kitchen counter. He hadn't opened it yet, hadn't been able to face it. "How did you know about that?" "Because I'm good at my job, Mr. Morrison. But your wife, she's better. She planned this for months." "Months? She only found out about Savannah the night before she left." Jack laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. "No, Mr. Morrison, she found out about Savannah the night before she left. Big difference. She knew for at least 2 weeks, maybe longer. It takes time to set all this up. Research, planning. She didn't panic. She strategized." Ryan felt sick. Had Jessica known for weeks? Had she been lying next to him in bed every night, planning her escape while he thought everything was fine? "Find her," Ryan said. "I don't care what it costs. Find her." "I'll do my best, but Mr. Morrison, you should prepare yourself for the possibility that she doesn't want to be found." Week 2 brought the divorce papers. Ryan finally opened them, sitting at his tiny kitchen table in his tiny apartment, and read through the legal language with growing horror. Jessica was requesting full custody. Child support of $3,800 per month based on his previous income. 100% of all medical expenses. And her current location was listed as redacted, protected under domestic privacy statutes. How can she get full custody of a baby that isn't even born yet? Ryan asked his newly hired divorce attorney, Patricia Walsh. Patricia was 58 years old with silver hair and a reputation for being ruthless in divorce cases. She was also expensive, $25,000 retainer, $350 per hour. "Because she's the custodial parent," Patricia explained patiently. "The child is literally inside her body. Under California law, she can relocate anywhere in the U.S. before filing for divorce, as long as there's no existing custody arrangement." "This is kidnapping." "No, Mr. Morrison. This is a pregnant woman exercising her legal rights. And frankly, she did everything correctly. She withdrew money from joint accounts she had equal access to. She sold a car titled in her name. She relocated before filing. There's nothing illegal here." "So what can I do?" "Pay your child support. Request visitation rights after the baby is born. Hope she's reasonable." Patricia paused. "Mr. Morrison, I have to ask, is there any chance of reconciliation?" Ryan thought about Jessica's note, about the cold precision of her departure, about the way she'd taken only what was hers and left everything else. "No," he said quietly. "No chance at all." Week 3 brought social media hell. Someone, Ryan never found out who, posted on the Calabasas Moms Facebook group. It started as a simple warning. "PSA, Ryan Morrison of Morrison and Partners cheated on his pregnant wife with his marketing consultant. Wife found out, took all their money and disappeared. He can't find her. Karma is real, ladies. The post went viral. 847 shares in 6 hours. Comments poured in. I know Jessica. She's the sweetest person. He's disgusting. She's pregnant? What kind of monster cheats on his pregnant wife? Good for her. Take everything, girl. My husband works with Ryan. Says he's been a mess at work. Good. Within 24 hours, the story had spread to 3 other local Facebook groups, 2 Los Angeles parenting forums, and Twitter. Someone created a hashtag, Justice for Jessica. Ryan's name became synonymous with cheating husband and deadbeat dad in certain circles, even though Jessica had never said a word publicly about what happened. She didn't have to. The story told itself. Week 4 brought business consequences. 3 major clients called to cancel contracts. All 3 gave variations of the same reason. Their wives had seen the Facebook posts and didn't want to work with Ryan anymore. It's not about you personally, one client said, though his tone suggested otherwise. My wife is very involved in our business decisions, and the optics of this situation are uncomfortable for her. In translation, Ryan Morrison had become a PR liability. Week 5 was when Ryan saw Savannah's Instagram post. She'd posted a photo with a new boyfriend. Wealthy-looking guy, Rolex clearly visible, yacht in the background. The caption read, "When God closes a door, he opens a window to something better," followed by prayer hands and heart emojis. The comments before she deleted the post and went private were brutal. Isn't this the homewrecker from the Ryan Morrison thing? Girl, you have no shame. From one rich guy to another, I see you. Does this one have a pregnant wife too? Ryan stared at the photo for a long time. Savannah looked happy, carefree, like their 6-month affair and his destroyed marriage meant nothing to her. Maybe it had meant nothing. Maybe to Savannah, Ryan had just been a stepping stone to the next wealthy man. The realization hurt more than he wanted to admit. Week 6 was when Jack Crawford finally called with something. I found a hospital record, Jack said. Jessica established prenatal care at Swedish Medical Center in Seattle 3 weeks ago. Ryan's heart leaped. Seattle, I knew it. Can you get me an address? No, the address on file is for a women's shelter. It's a privacy protection measure, but she's definitely in Seattle. A women's shelter? Ryan felt a pang of guilt. Had he driven Jessica to a shelter? Was she homeless? It's probably just a mailing address, Jack said. A lot of women in her situation use shelters as address drops to prevent their ex-partners from finding them. I'm not dangerous. I just want to see my daughter. Mr. Morrison, from the court's perspective, you're a man who betrayed his pregnant wife, lied to her for 6 months, and had the financial means to control her. That makes you a potential threat, whether you think you are or not. Ryan wanted to argue, but the words died in his throat. Was he a threat? He'd never hit Jessica, never yelled at her, barely even argued with her. But he'd lied to her every single day for half a year. He'd planned her replacement while she planned their nursery. Maybe he was worse than a threat. Maybe he was a betrayal. Keep looking, Ryan said. I need to find her before the baby comes. Mr. Morrison, even if I find her exact address, you can't just show up. That could be considered stalking or harassment. You need to go through legal channels. Then what the hell am I paying you for? Information, which I'm giving you. Your wife is in Seattle. She's receiving prenatal care. She's presumably stable. That's what you wanted to know. After Jack hung up, Ryan sat in his apartment trying to figure out his next move. Fly to Seattle? Camp out at the hospital? Hire a Seattle-based investigator? His credit cards were maxed. His savings were gone. His income was zero. He had just enough money left to survive for 3 more weeks. And then what? Week 7 was when Ryan accepted a job at Best Buy for $45,000 per year. It was the only place that would hire him. Every other company he'd applied to had either Googled him and decided he was too controversial, or had networks in LA's business community where his reputation preceded him. Best Buy didn't care. They needed someone in the computer department, and Ryan had a business degree from USC, even if his career was currently in shambles. On his first day, Ryan's manager, a 24-year-old kid named Tyler, who called everyone bro, explained Ryan's duties. So basically, you help customers pick out computers, process returns, and restock shelves. Pretty straightforward, bro. Ryan nodded, wearing his blue polo shirt with the Best Buy logo, and wondered how his life had come to this. 6 weeks ago, he'd been pulling in $70,000 per month. Now he was making $3,750 per month before taxes. His child support obligation was $3,800 per month. The math didn't work. Week 8 brought the final blow from Derek. "We're moving forward with the buyout," Derek said over the phone. "Paperwork's ready. $150,000 minus the $47,000 you owe for the payroll bounce, minus legal fees of $8,000. Your check will be for $95,000. "What? That wasn't the deal." "That was the deal. Read the partnership agreement. You're liable for damages caused by your actions. The payroll bounce was a direct result of your personal financial situation affecting business operations." Ryan wanted to argue, but he'd already spent $2,000 on a lawyer to review the partnership agreement. The lawyer had confirmed Derek was right. "Fine, when do I get the check?" 2 weeks, standard buyout processing time. Ryan hung up and recalculated his finances. $95,000 minus $43,800 in credit card debt, minus $25,000 for divorce attorney, minus $15,000 already paid to private investigator. That left $11,200, and child support was accumulating at $3,800 per month, whether he paid it or not. Ryan Morrison was going to be broke and in debt within 3 months, and his daughter hadn't even been born yet. Month 3 of Jessica's disappearance arrived with a certified letter. Ryan was at work, helping an elderly woman pick out a laptop, when his phone buzzed with a notification. Certified mail requiring signature. He left work early, drove to the post office, and signed in for a thick manila envelope from Catherine Hayes, attorney at law. He knew what it was before he opened it. Ryan sat in his car in the post office parking lot and pulled out the contents. A formal letter on law firm letterhead, a birth certificate, and one photograph. "Dear Mr. Morrison," the letter began, "this letter is to inform you that your daughter was born on October 15th at 3:47 a.m. Mother and baby are healthy." Ryan's hands shook as he read the details. Child's name, Emma Grace Bennett, not Morrison, Bennett. Birth weight, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Length, 19.5 inches. The letter continued. Per court order, child support payments begin immediately. Monthly obligation, $3,800. First payment due November 1st. Medical expenses to be billed separately. Visitation rights may be discussed once you are current on all support obligations. Ryan looked at the birth certificate. Father, Ryan Christopher Morrison. Mother, Jessica Marie Bennett. Child's legal name, Emma Grace Bennett. His daughter had been given Jessica's maiden name. Not his name, not their family name. Then he looked at the photograph. A newborn baby girl, pink hospital hat, tiny face scrunched up in sleep, perfect little fingers curled into fists. His daughter. Ryan stared at the photo until his vision blurred with tears. Emma. She was real. She was here. She was healthy, and he'd never held her, would never hold her, might never even meet her. He tried calling Catherine's office, hands shaking so badly he could barely dial. Law offices of Catherine Hayes. "I need to speak with Catherine. It's Ryan Morrison. She sent me a letter about my daughter." "Mr. Morrison, Ms. Hayes has left instructions that all communication must be in writing. You can email her assistant. I just want to know where they are. Where's my daughter?" "That information is protected, sir. If you'd like to file a motion for visitation rights." "I have rights. She's my daughter." "Sir, you're currently $11,400 behind on child support. Once you're current, you can petition for supervised visitation. Until then, I don't have $11,000. She took all my money." The receptionist's voice remained professionally neutral. "That's between you and your attorney, Joe. Is there anything else I can help you with?" Ryan hung up. He sat in his car holding the photograph of Emma for 45 minutes while Best Buy called him, twice asking why he wasn't back from his break. When he finally drove back to work, Tyler was waiting at the employee entrance. Bro, you can't just disappear for an hour without telling anyone. I'm sorry, family emergency. Everything okay? Ryan looked at the photograph of his daughter still clutched in his hand. No, nothing's okay. That night, Ryan calculated the math again. He was making $45,000 per year. After taxes, about $36,000, $3,000 per month. His expenses were $2,800 per month for rent, car, food, and utilities. That left him $200 per month. His child support obligation was $3,800 per month. He was falling $3,600 further behind every single month. At this rate, he'd owe Jessica $130,000 in child support by the time Emma turned 3. He'd never catch up, never be current, never have visitation rights. Ryan looked at the photograph of Emma propped against his laptop. I'm sorry, he whispered to the image of his daughter. I'm so sorry. Month 4 brought collection agencies. Ryan's phone rang constantly with automated messages about his credit card debt. He stopped answering, stopped checking his mail. The bills piled up unopened on his tiny kitchen counter. At work, Tyler pulled him aside. Bro, I need to talk to you about your performance. Ryan's stomach sank. What about it? You've been late 3 times this month. Your customer satisfaction scores are down. Multiple customers have complained that you seem distracted. Tyler looked uncomfortable. I like you, man, but corporate's asking questions. I'll do better. You need to, because I can't protect you if they decide to let you go. Ryan nodded and went back to the computer department, where he helped a teenager pick out a gaming laptop and tried not to think about how his life had become this. Month 5 brought the court hearing. Catherine Hayes had filed a motion in Seattle establishing jurisdiction and formalizing custody arrangements. Ryan had to fly to Seattle using borrowed money from his brother. The hearing lasted 27 minutes. Mr. Morrison, the judge said, looking over her reading glasses at him, you're here to petition for visitation rights? Yes, Your Honor. I want to see my daughter. Sus. Bennett, do you object? Catherine stood, immaculate in a navy suit. We don't object to supervised visitation, Your Honor. However, Mr. Morrison is currently $19,000 behind on child support obligations. We request he be made current before any visitation is granted. Your Honor, I can't pay $19,000. Ryan stood up, ignoring his lawyer's hand on his arm, trying to pull him back down. My ex-wife took all our money. Mr. Morrison, sit down. The judge's voice was sharp. I've reviewed the case file. Your ex-wife withdrew funds from joint accounts she had equal legal access to. That's not theft. But she left me with nothing. Sir, you had equal access to those accounts. You could have protected those assets yourself. You chose not to. The judge looked at her notes. You earned $850,000 last year. You have an Ivy League degree and extensive work experience. Your current income of $45,000 per year suggests a lack of effort, not inability. I've been trying. No one will hire me because of what happened. That's not the court's concern, Mr. Morrison. Here's my ruling. You will have supervised visitation rights, 2 hours per week, once you are current on child support. Until then, no contact. Court adjourned. The gavel came down. Ryan stood there stunned while the courtroom emptied around him. His lawyer, Patricia Walsh, packed up her briefcase. I told you this would happen. So what do I do? Pay your child support. That's what you do. With what money? Patricia looked at him with something like pity. That's not my area of expertise, Mr. Morrison. I'm a divorce attorney, not a financial planner. But if you want to see your daughter, you'll figure it out. Outside the courthouse, Ryan saw Jessica for the first time in 5 months. She was walking to her car, carrying Emma in a car seat. Ryan's breath caught. Jessica! She stopped, turned. Their eyes met across the parking lot. Jessica looked different. Her hair was shorter, styled professionally. She was wearing business casual clothes that fit her post-pregnancy body. She looked healthy, strong, confident. She looked free. Please, Ryan called across the distance between them. Can I just see her? Just for a minute? Jessica looked at Emma, then back at Ryan. She didn't move closer. When you're current on support, we can talk about visitation. Jessica, I'm broke. You took everything. No, Ryan, I took what was legally mine. You lost everything else on your own. I made a mistake. One mistake. Jessica's expression didn't change. 6 months isn't one mistake. It's a choice. You chose Savannah every single day for 6 months. You chose her. Now live with that choice. Please, she's my daughter. She's my daughter. You're just the biological father. There's a difference. Jessica secured Emma's car seat and got in her car. Through the windshield, Ryan could see his daughter, 5 months old, dark hair like his, eyes he couldn't see from this distance. Jessica backed out of the parking space and drove away. Ryan stood in the courthouse parking lot watching his daughter disappear, knowing he'd just seen her for the first and possibly last time. His phone buzzed, a collection agency calling about his credit card debt. Ryan turned off his phone and sat down on the curb. He was 38 years old. He had a daughter he'd never held. He owed $19,000 in child support and $43,000 in credit card debt. He made $3,000 per month and spent $2,800 just staying alive. The math would never work. Month 8 was when Ryan moved from his one-bedroom apartment to a studio. The rent was cheaper, $1,800 per month instead of $2,800, but the space was depressing. One room serving as bedroom, living room, and kitchen. A bathroom barely big enough to turn around in. A window that looked out onto a brick wall. But it saved him $1,000 per month. And that $1,000 went toward the child support debt that now totaled $30,400. At this rate, Ryan calculated, he'd be current on child support when Emma was 11 years old. He'd miss her entire childhood. Every night, Ryan came home from Best Buy, microwaved a frozen dinner, and scrolled through Jessica's Instagram. She'd unblocked him. Probably didn't care if he saw anymore. Or maybe she wanted him to see. The posts were devastating in their normalcy. Emma's first smile, Emma trying solid foods, Emma sitting up on her own. Almost, Emma laughing at peekaboo. Jessica had started a small consulting business, marketing services for local Seattle companies. Her bio said she made 6 figures. She'd bought a townhouse, modern, bright, filled with photos of Emma. In every picture, Jessica looked happy, genuinely, radiantly happy. The captions were worse. 8 months ago, I thought my world was ending. Today, I know it was just beginning. To every woman who's found the strength to walk away from what hurts, I see you. Keep going. Single mom life isn't easy, but it's real. And real beats fake every time. The comments were thousands deep. Women sharing their own stories, thanking Jessica for inspiring them, calling her a hero. Ryan's name was never mentioned. He'd become irrelevant to Jessica's narrative. Not the villain, not even a character, just absent. And somehow that hurt worse than being hated. One night in month 9, Ryan's brother called. Hey man, how you holding up? Ryan was lying on his mattress on the floor of his studio apartment, staring at the ceiling. I'm fine. Don't lie to me. When's the last time you ate a real meal? Ryan couldn't remember. Yesterday? I'm sending you money, don't argue. I can't take your money, but you can and you will. $500. Buy groceries. Pay a bill, I don't care. But you're my brother, and I'm not watching you starve. After they hung up, Ryan cried for the first time since this whole thing started. Not angry tears, not frustrated tears, just exhausted, defeated, hopeless tears. He'd lost everything. His wife, his daughter, his business, his reputation, his money, his dignity. And for what? 6 months with Savannah Blake, who dumped him the second the money dried up. 6 months of excitement that cost him the rest of his life. Month 10 brought a development Ryan hadn't expected. His phone rang with a Seattle number he didn't recognize. Hello? Mr. Morrison, this is Janet Kim from Seattle Family Services. I'm calling regarding Emma Bennett. Ryan sat up so fast he got dizzy. Is she okay? Is something wrong? Emma is fine. I'm calling because Mr. Bennett has agreed to allow supervised visitation if you're able to travel to Seattle and cover the costs of supervision. Ryan's heart pounded. Yes, absolutely. When? The cost is $150 per 2-hour session. Sessions must be scheduled at least 1 week in advance. You're still required to make child support payments, But Ms. Bennett has agreed this can happen concurrently while you work on catching up. I'll be there. When can I see her? Janet gave him the details. Every other Saturday, 2 hours. A supervised visitation center in Seattle. Ryan would have to fly to Seattle every other week. Round-trip tickets averaged $300, plus the $150 for supervision. $450 per visit, $900 per month. He made $3,000 per month. His expenses were $2,600, including the cheaper rent. That left $400 per month. If he gave up everything, eating out, new clothes, any form of entertainment, he could afford to see Emma twice per month. Ryan didn't hesitate. I'll be there this Saturday. The supervised visitation center was in a converted office building in downtown Seattle. Bright walls with children's artwork, toys scattered on the floor, a two-way mirror where supervisors could watch. Ryan sat in a small room, his hands shaking, waiting. The door opened. Jessica walked in carrying Emma. Emma was 10 months old now. Chubby cheeks, bright eyes, dark curls like Ryan's. She looked at Ryan with curiosity, not recognition. Of course not. She'd never met him before. "Hi, Emma," Ryan said, his voice breaking. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm your daddy." Emma buried her face in Jessica's shoulder. "She's shy with strangers," Jessica said neutrally. She sat down in a chair across from Ryan, Emma in her lap. "Can I hold her?" "Let her warm up to you first." For the first 30 minutes, Ryan sat across from his daughter, trying to coax her to smile. He made faces, did peekaboo, offered her toys. Emma watched him warily, clinging to Jessica. "She doesn't know me," Ryan said, the realization crushing. "She doesn't know who I am." "No," Jessica agreed. "She doesn't." "This is what you wanted, isn't it? To erase me?" Jessica's expression hardened. "I didn't erase you, Ryan. You erased yourself. I gave you 9 months to figure out what mattered to you. You chose Savannah. These are consequences." "I chose wrong. I know that now." "You know it now because it cost you something. You didn't know it when it would have mattered." They sat in silence while Emma played with Ethan, occasionally glancing at Ryan like he was an interesting stranger. With 45 minutes left in the session, Emma finally toddled over to Ryan. Not to him specifically, there was a toy truck behind his chair she wanted. But she was close enough that Ryan could smell her baby shampoo, see her tiny fingers, hear her babbling to herself. "Hi, baby girl," Ryan whispered. Emma looked up at him, truck in hand. For one moment, their eyes met. Then she toddled back to Jessica. When the 2 hours ended, Ryan had gotten to hand Emma one toy and hear her laugh once when he dropped something. It was the best 2 hours of his life and the most painful. Jessica packed up Emma's things. "Same time in 2 weeks?" "I'll be here." Jessica paused at the door. "Ryan, I'm not doing this to hurt you. I'm doing this because Emma deserves consistency and stability. If you keep showing up, eventually she'll know you. But you have to keep showing up." "I will, I promise." Jessica nodded once and left with Emma. Ryan sat in the visitation room for 10 more minutes after they were gone, crying quietly where the supervisor couldn't see through the two-way mirror. 1 year later, the first anniversary of Jessica's disappearance arrived on a cold October morning. Ryan Morrison, now 39 years old, woke up in his studio apartment and got ready for work at Best Buy. His routine was mechanical now. Shower, coffee, blue polo shirt, name tag. He'd seen Emma 12 times in the past year, 24 hours total with his daughter. She'd started calling him Ryan instead of Daddy. She didn't understand who he was. Jessica never said much during the supervised visits, just facilitated Emma's time with Ryan and left. Professional, distant, done with him entirely. Ryan's child support debt had reached $57,600. He paid what he could, usually $300 per month, but it was never enough. His credit was destroyed. His career was non-existent. His future was bleak. But he kept showing up to see Emma every other Saturday, no matter how broke he was. No matter how much it hurt to see his daughter treat him like a stranger. He showed up. At work, Tyler pulled Ryan aside during a slow Tuesday afternoon. "Bro, corporate wants to make you full-time." Ryan blinked. "Really?" "Yeah, man, you've been reliable, customers like you, and you know the inventory better than anyone. Full-time means benefits, health insurance, dental, retirement matching." It wasn't much, but it was something, and Thanks, Tyler. Don't thank me. You earned it. Tyler paused. Can I ask you something personal? Ryan tensed. Okay. That photo you keep on your phone of the baby, is that your daughter? Ryan pulled out his phone and showed Tyler the most recent photo Jessica had texted him. Emma at her first birthday party, cake smeared on her face, grinning at the camera. Yeah, Emma, she turned 1 last month. She's cute, bro. Do you get to see her much? Twice a month, supervised visits in Seattle. Tyler didn't ask why they were supervised. Didn't pry about what had happened. Just said, that's rough, man, but at least you're trying. A lot of dads wouldn't. After Tyler walked away, Ryan looked at Emma's photo for a long time. She'd taken her first steps last week. Jessica had sent him a video. Emma had walked right past Ryan during their last visit without looking at him, heading for the toys. But she'd walked. His daughter had walked, and Ryan had been there to see it. Month 14 brought an unexpected email from Catherine Hayes. Mr. Morrison, Ms. Bennett has agreed to unsupervised visitation pending completion of a co-parenting class and payment of $10,000 toward child support arrears. Please advise if you wish to proceed. Ryan read the email 3 times. Unsupervised visitation, no more center, no more supervisor watching through the mirror. Just him and Emma. But he needed $10,000. He had $2,600 in savings. Had been putting away every spare penny for 8 months. He needed $7,400 more dollars. Ryan looked around his studio apartment. He owned almost nothing of value. His furniture was from IKEA. His clothes were from Target. His car was his car. The Tesla he'd been paying $1,400 per month on for 3 years. Paid off now, worth maybe $40,000. If he sold the Tesla, he could pay the $10,000 and have money left over. He'd have to take the bus to work. It would take longer, but he'd be able to see Emma without supervision. Ryan listed the Tesla that night. It sold in 3 days for $38,000. He sent $10,000 to Catherine Hayes. Registered for the co-parenting class, took the bus to work, and waited for approval. Month 15 was when everything changed. Ryan had just finished his co-parenting class, 8 weeks of learning how to effectively parent a child you barely knew, when he got a call from Janet Kim. Mr. Morrison, I have good news. Ms. Bennett has approved unsupervised visitation, 4 hours every other Saturday. You can pick Emma up from Ms. Bennett's home and return her at the agreed-upon time. Ryan's hands shook. I can take her places? Like to the park? Yes, as long as you return her on time and follow the guidelines Ms. Bennett has provided. The first unsupervised visit was terrifying. Ryan took the bus to Jessica's townhouse in Seattle, carrying a bag of toys he'd bought for Emma. Jessica answered the door, holding Emma, now 17 months old. Emma saw Ryan and smiled, actually smiled, at him. She's been asking about Ryan all morning, Jessica said, and it was the kindest thing she'd said to him in over a year. Really? She likes the park. There's one 3 blocks from here. She needs to nap around 1 p.m. Her snacks are in this bag. Her EpiPen is here. She's allergic to peanuts. Don't give her anything with peanuts. Jessica rattled off instructions while Ryan tried to absorb everything. Emma had allergies. Emma liked the park. Emma napped at 1 p.m., his daughter, who he barely knew. I'll take good care of her, Ryan promised. Jessica looked at him for a long moment. I know you will. She handed Emma over. Emma went willingly, babbling about park and swing. For 4 hours, Ryan played with his daughter. They went to the park. Emma loved the swings. She went down the slide 6 times, giggling every time. She picked up leaves and showed them to Ryan like they were treasures. When she got tired, Ryan carried her back to Jessica's townhouse. Emma fell asleep on his shoulder. Ryan held his sleeping daughter and felt something he hadn't felt in 18 months. Hope. At the door, Jessica took Emma gently, careful not to wake her. How did it go? Perfect. She's amazing, Jessica. You're doing an amazing job with her. Jessica's expression softened slightly. Thank you. Can I ask you something? Okay. Do you think Emma will ever know me? Really know me? Jessica looked at her sleeping daughter. I think if you keep showing up, consistently and reliably, she'll know you. But Ryan, you have to understand, you're not her father in the way you could have been. You're someone who visits every other week. That's what you chose. I know. Ryan's voice broke. I know what I chose, and I'd give anything to go back and choose differently. Jessica met his eyes. But you can't. None of us can. So all we can do is move forward and try to do better. Are you happy? Ryan asked. Really happy? Jessica smiled, and it was genuine. Yes, I'm happy. Emma and I have a good life. A real life, an honest life. I'm glad. I mean that. You deserve to be happy. So do you, Ryan, but not at someone else's expense. That's what you never understood. Jessica closed the door gently. Ryan took the bus back to his hotel. He couldn't afford to fly back to LA the same day, and thought about what she'd said. Happiness at someone else's expense. That's exactly what his affair with Savannah had been. His happiness. Jessica's pain. He'd thought he could have both. His devoted wife and his exciting mistress. His stable home and his passionate escape. Turns out he couldn't have either. 2 years later, by the second anniversary of Jessica's departure, Ryan Morrison's life had stabilized into something resembling normal. He'd been promoted to assistant manager at Best Buy. His salary was now $62,000 per year. Not great, but better than before. He'd moved to Seattle permanently 6 months ago. Cheaper to live there than keep flying back and forth. His studio apartment in Capitol Hill was small but clean. He saw Emma every other weekend now. Sometimes Jessica let him have her for a full day. Sometimes she even let him put Emma to bed and have dinner at the townhouse. They weren't friends, would never be friends, but they were functional co-parents. Emma was 2.5 now. She called him Daddy Ryan to distinguish him from Daddy David, Jessica's boyfriend of 8 months, a pediatric nurse who was apparently great with Emma. Ryan had met David once. Nice guy, patient with Emma, made Jessica laugh. It hurt to see, but Ryan had no right to complain. Emma loved David. Emma saw David every day. Emma barely knew Ryan. That was the consequence of Ryan's choices. One Saturday afternoon, Ryan took Emma to the Seattle Aquarium. Emma was obsessed with fish. She pressed her face to every tank, squealing with delight. Look, look, Daddy Ryan, big fish. That's a shark, sweetheart. Shark! Emma's eyes were huge. They spent 3 hours at the aquarium. Emma held Ryan's hand the whole time. When she got tired, she let him carry her. At the gift shop, Emma picked out a stuffed octopus. Can I have it, please? Ryan bought it without hesitation. $11 he probably shouldn't spend, but seeing Emma hug that octopus made it worth it. On the walk back to Jessica's townhouse, Emma chattered about the fish, the shark, the octopus. She was so animated, so happy. Daddy Ryan, you come live with us? Ryan's heart broke. No, honey, I live at my apartment. Why, May, how do you explain divorce and betrayal and consequences to a 2-year-old? Because Mommy and I aren't married anymore, sweetheart. Why not? Because sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, and some mistakes you can't fix. Emma thought about this seriously. You fix it. Say sorry. I did say sorry, but some things are too broken to fix. But I want you to live with us. Ryan blinked back tears. I know, baby, I know. At Jessica's door, Emma didn't want to let go of Ryan's hand. I want to stay with Daddy Ryan. Jessica came to the door, David behind her. They exchanged a look. Emma, sweetie, Daddy Ryan will see you in 2 weeks, Jessica said gently. No, I want him to stay. Jessica picked up Emma, who was now crying. I know, baby, I know. Ryan stood on the doorstep, watching his daughter cry for him. I'm sorry, he said to Jessica. I didn't mean to upset her. You didn't. She's 2. She doesn't understand why her family can't all be together. Jessica paused. Give me a second. She took Emma inside. Ryan could hear them talking, though he couldn't make out the words. David stepped out onto the porch. Hey man, Emma had a great time today. Thanks, she's an amazing kid. She is. David was quiet for a moment. Look, I know this is weird, me being here, but I want you to know I'm not trying to replace you. You already have replaced me. You see her every day. You put her to bed. You read her stories. That should have been me. Yeah, David agreed. It should have been, but it's not. And beating yourself up forever doesn't help Emma. What does help Emma? You showing up, like you do. That helps. David looked back into the house. Jessica told me what happened, what you did. And man, that was messed up. But you've been showing up for 2 years. You could have disappeared. You could have given up. You didn't. Ryan didn't know what to say. Emma's going to have questions when she's older, David continued, about why her parents aren't together, why you don't live with them. And yeah, she's going to learn that you made a huge mistake. But she's also going to see that you didn't abandon her, that you kept trying, that you loved her enough to do the hard thing. Jessica came back outside without Emma. She's calmed down. David's going to put her to bed. David nodded and went inside. Jessica and Ryan stood on her porch in the Seattle evening, two people who used to share everything and now shared only a daughter and a history. She's getting attached, Jessica said, to you. Is that okay? It's inevitable. You're her father, but Ryan, you have to promise me something. Anything. If you're going to be in her life, you have to be in her life, consistently, forever. You can't decide this is too hard and disappear. You can't meet someone new and let your visits drop off. Emma's already had enough instability. I won't disappear. I promise. Jessica studied his face. You've changed. Yeah, I had to. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're doing this. Emma deserves to know her father. It was the first time in 2 years Jessica had called him Emma's father instead of the biological father. Ryan's eyes filled with tears. Thank you for giving me this chance. You didn't have to. I didn't do it for you. I did it for Emma. She asked about you. She wanted to know why other kids have daddies who live with them and she doesn't. I couldn't tell her you didn't care, because you do care. You're just someone who made terrible choices. Jessica, don't. I've heard it. I believe you're sorry. But being sorry doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't give me back the time I spent terrified and alone, pregnant in a new city. It doesn't give Emma back the first year of her life when you weren't there. I know. But you're here now and you keep showing up. So that's something. Jessica went back inside, leaving Ryan on her porch. He walked back to the bus stop thinking about David's words. Emma was going to have questions someday. About why Ryan didn't live with them. About what he'd done. And Ryan was going to have to tell her the truth. That he'd betrayed her mother. That he'd chosen temporary excitement over permanent commitment. That he'd lost everything because he didn't value what he had until it was gone. That he was sorry. That he was trying to do better. And that every visit with her was a gift he'd never take for granted again. 3 years after Jessica Morrison emptied their bank accounts and disappeared, Ryan Morrison sat in a Seattle coffee shop waiting for his daughter. Jessica had started letting Emma come to some visits on her own, with David dropping her off and Ryan bringing her home. Baby steps towards something like normalcy. Emma was 3.5 now, talkative, curious, full of opinions. She burst through the coffee shop door, saw Ryan, and ran to him. Daddy Ryan! Ryan scooped her up, hugging her tight. She smelled like strawberry shampoo. Hi, sweetheart. I missed you. I missed you too. Can we get hot chocolate? Absolutely. They sat at a corner table, Emma swinging her legs and chattering about preschool. She had a best friend named Sophie. She'd learned to write her name. She wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up. Ryan listened to every word, memorizing details. These hours with Emma were the best part of his life. Daddy Ryan, are you sad? Ryan looked up. What? No, honey. You look sad sometimes. Like this. Emma made an exaggerated sad face. I'm not sad when I'm with you. You make me very happy. But you're sad other times. Ryan didn't know how to explain to a 3-year-old that, yes, he was sad, that he'd thrown away his chance at a full life with her, that he saw her 2 days a month instead of every day, that he'd miss so much and would miss so much more. Sometimes grown-ups are sad about mistakes they made, Ryan said carefully. But being with you makes everything better. Emma nodded seriously, then she brightened. Mommy says you're coming to my birthday party. I am. I wouldn't miss it. David's going to make a princess castle cake. It's going to be pink and purple. Ryan smiled even though hearing about David hurt. That sounds amazing. And you'll be there the whole time? The whole time. Promise? I promise. Emma went back to her hot chocolate, satisfied. Ryan watched his daughter and thought about promises. He'd promised Jessica he'd be faithful. Broke that promise. He'd promised himself he could have it all. Wrong about that too. But this promise? Being there for Emma's birthday? Showing up when he said he would? This promise he would keep. Emma's birthday party was at Jessica's townhouse. 20 kids from preschool, parents Ryan didn't know, decorations everywhere. Jessica greeted him at the door with a professional smile. Thanks for coming. Thanks for inviting me. Emma wanted you here. David appeared with the princess castle cake. It was ridiculous and perfect. Emma screamed with delight when she saw it. For 3 hours, Ryan watched his daughter's party from the sidelines. He took photos, helped serve cake, cleaned up spilled juice. He watched Jessica and David work together like a team. Watched Emma run to David when she needed help with something. Watched the life his daughter had that didn't include him. A little girl named Sophie asked Emma, "Why do you have two daddies?" Emma thought about it. "That's Daddy Ryan. He doesn't live here, but he's still my daddy." "Oh, that's weird." "It's not weird, it's just different." Ryan's heart swelled. Emma had already accepted the reality of their situation in a way he was still struggling with. At the end of the party, after all the other kids had left, Emma asked Ryan to put her to bed. Jessica hesitated. "Ryan has to catch his bus." "Please, Mommy, just tonight." Jessica looked at Ryan. "You have time?" "I have time." Upstairs, Emma's room was decorated with princesses and rainbows, photos everywhere. Her stuffed octopus from the aquarium had a place of honor on her pillow. Ryan read her 3 stories. Then Emma asked, "Daddy Ryan, do you love me?" "More than anything in the world." "Even though you don't live here?" "Even though I don't live here, I'll always love you, Emma, no matter what." "Okay," Emma yawned. "Can you sing the song?" "What song?" "The one Mommy sings." Ryan had no idea what song Jessica sang to Emma. He'd missed 3 years of nighttime routines. "How about I sing you a different song? One from when I was little." Ryan sang the only lullaby he remembered from his own childhood. Emma's eyes drooped. By the second verse, she was asleep. Ryan sat by her bed for 5 more minutes, watching her breathe. His daughter. This perfect little person who existed because of him, but was being raised by someone else. Downstairs, Jessica was cleaning up with David's help. "She's asleep," Ryan said quietly. "Thank you for being here today. It meant a lot to her." Ryan nodded. He needed to say something he'd been thinking about for months. "Jessica, I want you to know something. You were right about everything." Jessica stopped wiping down the counter. "Ryan, no, let me finish. You were right that I didn't value what I had. You were right that I chose wrong. You were right to leave. You were right to protect Emma. You were right about all of it." Jessica's expression was unreadable. "Okay, and I want you to know that I'm grateful. That you let me see Emma, that you didn't poison her against me, that you've been fair even when I didn't deserve it. I didn't do it for you, damn. I know you did it for Emma, but still, thank you." Jessica looked at David, then back at Ryan. "We're getting married in the spring." The words landed like a punch, but Ryan kept his expression neutral. "Congratulations. Emma's going to be our flower girl. And Ryan, David wants to adopt her. Legally, so she can have his last name too. She'd be Emma Grace Bennett Carter." Ryan felt like the floor had dropped out. "But she's my daughter. She'd still be your daughter, legally. But David is her father in every way that matters. He's there every day. He takes care of her when she's sick. He reads her bedtime stories. He's going to raise her." "I can't," Ryan's voice broke. "I can't lose her." "You're not losing her. You'll still have your visitation. But Ryan, you have to accept reality. Emma has a family, and you're not part of it in the way you could have been." Ryan looked at David, who'd been quiet this whole time. "You'll be good to her?" "I'll love her like she's mine," David promised, "because she is mine, just like she's yours. Kids can have more than one father, man. I'm not trying to erase you. I'm just trying to be there for her." See, Ryan knew he had no right to object. He'd given up his rights when he'd chosen Savannah over Jessica, when he'd planned to leave his family before Emma was even born. "Okay," Ryan said. "Okay, if that's what Emma needs." Jessica's eyes glistened. "It is. Thank you for understanding." Ryan left their house because it was their house now, not his, and caught the bus back to his studio apartment. He sat in the dark for a long time, thinking about the life he had lost and the life Emma had gained. She was happy, healthy, loved by two parents who were there every single day. She had stability, security, a family, everything Ryan had thrown away. The next morning, Ryan woke up to a text from Jessica. Just a photo, Emma asleep in her princess bed, clutching her stuffed octopus. Caption: she told me last night that her birthday was perfect because you were there. Thank you for showing up. Ryan stared at that text for a longer time. Oh, thank you for showing up. The absolute bare minimum of parenting. And yet it was all he could offer now. He thought about where he'd be if he'd made different choices 3 years ago. He'd wake up in that house with Jessica and Emma. He'd make breakfast while Emma chattered. He'd kiss his wife goodbye and head to work at his own company. He'd come home to a family that was whole. But that wasn't his life. His life was a studio apartment in Seattle, a job managing the computer department at Best Buy, 2 weekends per month with his daughter who had 2 last names and 2 fathers. This was the life he'd earned. Ryan got up, made coffee, and got ready for work. At Best Buy, Tyler greeted him with the usual, "Hey bro, how was the birthday party?" "Good, really good. Emma had a great time." "That's awesome, man. Oh, before I forget, corporate wants to talk to you about the store manager position. Current manager's retiring. They think you'd be a good fit." Store manager, better salary, better hours, actual career progression. 3 years ago, Ryan had run $1 million company. Now he was excited about managing a Best Buy. "I'd be interested," Ryan said. "Cool, I'll set up the interview." That night, Ryan video called with Emma before her bedtime. Jessica had started allowing that. Emma showed him a drawing she'd made of their family. Jessica, David, Emma. And off to the side, a smaller figure labeled Daddy Ryan. "That's me?" Ryan asked, his throat tight. "Yeah, you're part of my family too." "I love it, sweetheart. Can you save it for me?" "Okay." After they hung up, Ryan looked at a screenshot of that drawing for a long time. Part of her family, not the center, not the main character, but included. It wasn't the life Ryan had wanted, but it was the life he deserved. And maybe after everything, that was enough. 5 years after the night that changed everything, Ryan Morrison stood in line at a Seattle grocery store. Ahead of him was a couple arguing quietly. The man was defensive, the woman was hurt. "I told you, she's just a coworker." "Then why are you texting her at 11 p.m.? "Because we're working on a project." "Do you think I'm stupid?" Ryan recognized the dynamic, the lies, the gaslighting, the slow betrayal masked as innocence. He'd been that man once. The couple paid and left, still arguing. At the register, the cashier shook her head. "Some people never learn." "No," Ryan agreed, "they don't." He paid for his groceries, food for a week, carefully budgeted, and walked back to his apartment. On the way, he passed the Best Buy where he worked. He'd gotten the store manager position last year. His salary was now $92,000 per year. He'd finally paid off his child support debt 6 months ago. He saw Emma every other weekend, sometimes more. She was 7 now, smart, funny, happy. She called David Dad and Ryan Daddy Ryan. She loved them both. At home, Ryan made dinner and ate alone. Then he video called Emma. "Hi, Daddy Ryan." "Hi, sweet girl. How was school?" Emma launched into a story about her science project. Ryan listened, smiling. When they hung up, Ryan sat in his quiet apartment and thought about the woman he'd destroyed. Jessica had married David 3 years ago. They'd had a baby together, a son. Emma had a little brother. Jessica's consulting business was thriving. She'd been featured in Seattle Business Monthly last year. She'd built an entire life without Ryan in it, and she was happy. Ryan was alone, would probably always be alone. Dating was impossible when you had to explain why your 7-year-old daughter lived with her mother and stepfather full-time. Most women didn't want to hear about the affair that destroyed your marriage, about the wife who emptied your accounts and disappeared, about the 3 years you spent barely surviving. So Ryan didn't date, he worked, he saved money, he showed up for Emma, he paid his bills, he went to therapy, he volunteered at a men's accountability group for people who destroyed their families. He lived a small, quiet life. It wasn't the life he dreamed of at 38, but it was honest. Ryan picked up his phone and looked at his wallpaper, the most recent photo of Emma. She was grinning, gap-toothed, holding up a perfect score on her spelling test. "I'm proud of you, sweetheart," he told her when she showed him. "Thanks, Daddy Ryan. Mom says you were really good at spelling, too." The fact that Jessica had said something positive about him to Emma felt like a gift. Ryan set down his phone and thought about the note Jessica had left 3 years ago. "Have the life you deserve." She'd meant it as a condemnation, a curse. But maybe she'd also meant it as a challenge. What life did Ryan Morrison deserve? Not the one he'd had, built on lies and betrayal. Not the one he'd wanted, taking without giving, having it all at someone else's expense. But maybe this life. This small, honest, consistent life where he showed up for his daughter and did the hard work and tried to be better. Maybe this was exactly the life he deserved, and maybe that was okay.